Welcome back to the Be a Man podcast, where we encourage men to be better men. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Be a Man podcast. I am grateful you are listening this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you have chosen to. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're here. I had the awesome opportunity to talk with Dave. He runs and operates an online store, DLB Apparel. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Great guy, great conversation. He's into sports. He's into, men becoming better men. He's into raising his kids and being a good father. And I just think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. I think you're going to be challenged by it. I know that. So I think you will be too. So I will leave all his info. If you want to go pick up some apparel afterwards, Christmas is coming. This is your reminder. Go pick something up. He's all about motivating, inspiring, setting an example, opening or having opportunities to open a conversation with somebody so you can tell them about manhood, about Jesus, about all these things that we talk about on this channel, and the reason you're probably listening whenever that may be. And I hope you enjoy it. And I will share all his info. Please please subscribe, all those cool things that are very helpful to spreading the word about this. We are slowly but surely growing, and I appreciate that. I truly do. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I never thought this would get to this point, but we are progressing, and that's because of you. And it'll only continue because of you. And I ask that you please go ahead and share it with one friend. If everyone did that, the word will just keep getting out. And if you want to come on, maybe you are a father, maybe you are someone who wants to just share some tips on being a better man, or maybe you think you see something right now you just got to get off your chest that you want to share, that you see in society and the culture around us, and you just want to share some things that you are doing to combat that. I would love to hear it, and I think the guys and people listening to this podcast, watching this video, would enjoy as well. So please DM me. I would love to have a conversation with you. Truly, I am encouraged every time I get to have those. So with that, I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope it encourages you to be a better man. So let's get into it. All right. Welcome to the podcast. I'm glad to have you. Why don't you introduce yourself, let people know who you are, all those sorts of cool things, family, all that sort of, fun stuff people want to know.
Excellent, man. Thank you. First, I said I'm blessed and grateful to be able to be invited here and have this conversation with you, man. I really enjoyed the Be a Man. Like I said, I got my cap representing, follow you, great content. So really, if my name's Dave, I'm the president of the DLB Apparel, and I'll go farther on down in our conversation of what that means. But for myself, my big piece, I'm a man of faith. Faith and family are my two big things. I mean, without God, to me, there's nothing. So that I watch like your feet on Sunday. Go to church. Take your family to church, man.
Get a lot of feedback on that one.
Yeah, I love it. Because I'm like. You know what? Get there, Dave, and,
yep.
90% of the time we get there, some things happen once in a while, how it is.
Yeah.
But, then my wife and I try to get our families is built on faith, I think that's one of the issues these days in my mind is like people are steering away from faith and steering away from family, we can get into that content. So like I said, I got a wife, I got my lovely bride, and we got 5 kids, we got whatever age group you want. The oldest 21, you get the baby 7, so we're constantly busy. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. How long you guys been married?
We've been married, let's see, since 2016, 16 glorious years.
Awesome. We will hit 15 next month.
All right, man.
Yeah. So
were you guys together prior? We've been like 18 years together.
We were together about a year and a half before that. So
there you go.
Yeah, we met at a little Bible college on the east side of Indianapolis, and we just, I don't know, hit it off and it went from there.
Yeah, you do, right? As soon as you saw it, huh?
Yeah.
Me too.
So, I mean, yeah, it's been fun. Not always, but I mean, there's always the ups and downs, as you know very well, but you persevere, you push through it, and you're better for it, I think, in the long run.
Definitely. I mean, without the challenges, right, it makes you a better man. And then I've learned a lot from my wife, and I learned a lot from my kids. It's just you gotta be on your toes, and you gotta know what's going on. And I think as I've grown as a father and as a husband, I gotta keep morphing and changing myself, because you know how it is, man. There's so many things happening these days, and with media, and I just want to make sure we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah. Let's go down that for a minute.
Sure.
What do you do to help with that struggle? Because I mean, I'm aware of it. I'm concerned about it, about, what culture's trying to just push harder and harder and harder for our kids to think is normal. And, when 10 years ago, it wasn't normal, but at some point it just kind of switched. And, I mean, it was gradual, but it's almost like it did switch overnight, in many ways. But so, I mean, what are some of those things you guys do to kind of help your kids, shepherd your kids, guard your kids from those types of things?
That's a great question, man. We struggle every day.
Same here.
That phone, right?
Wow.
Like, it was a big discussion in our house when our kids got teenagers and a certain age, like to get a phone so we could track where their location and be able to be accessible, in an emergency, right? But the downside of it is they have that phone, and if I'm not around them, obviously, they have access to all this content.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm more diligent and worried about it than I think like my wife is on it. I'm an old school guy. When you're home, no phones, especially if we're sitting down for dinner, no phones. And I make my kids talk,
Yeah.
Hey, how was your day? And you need to ask me how my day was, because, I busted 10, 12 hours of work, so we could have this conversation, right? So, and then the content, right? I try to explain to them, like the algorithm, especially like TikTok, if you look at baseball clips, you're going to keep getting baseball clips. Yeah, I know you understand, but, that understanding, I try to educate. I've tried to educate them a lot on what that means. And I do a lot, especially my boys. I got teenage boys, 15 and going to be 14. I mean, we're right in 9th and 8th grade, right? We're right in that heart of that pre-masculine, right? I'm trying to teach them. And I also got to have a safe space for them. So our safe space, when we're in the truck and we're going to a practice or a game, just let it out, man. I want to hear what your thoughts are, what's going on, what's going on in school, what's going on with your buddies. I try to keep it open. And then to stay away from the phone, I try to get activities, right? Just to be around. Because the challenge I also see is like once in a while, because I got the 5 kids, they were all a little bit different,
Yeah.
And some would like to wander off alone.
Yeah.
They think I don't know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we're stopping that. You come up here. I want everybody around. It's a struggle, man. It's a fight that I take very seriously on a daily basis with my kids, because I don't want them sucked into that the media, the content. Because when I was writing down my notes, man, it's just like everybody's into constant entertainment, constant gratification, right? Like, see the best of, this kid had this car, or he posted this, he's got 3 million views. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not life, right? I said, you got to work for it, man. And I said, they think a man is this picture, right? Because you got cars and all these women. I'm like, guys, that's not real, right? I was watching a feed one time. One of the things I said, it's like, want to do something hard, it's like, be a family man, have a wife, raise a family, go to work every day. You know, that's hard.
It's good.
Right. And I know you feel me on that one, because that's important to me. And then getting the faith and the God piece in there. Their minds to me are so easily attracted, right, to certain things. And then I just feel like me as a dad, as a man, I got to step my game up. I got to be ahead of the curve, right? I got to be open. Because like I said, I'm old school, man. And it's hard for me sometimes to accept what people say. And it's like, okay, well, that's what they say. Well, what do you think that means, man? You know, what do you think? I'll tell you what it really means. So a big piece is I'm just trying to be open. My parents were real strict, you know, and I try not to be like that. I mean, I'm strict on certain things, right? Like any parent.
Sure.
But the conversation door in my house is always open. I want to hear what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that we've been really trying to, especially myself and my oldest, she'll be 13 here in a couple weeks. We've got a 9-year-old boy, 5-year-old girl, and 2-year-old boy. And so we didn't really plan. I mean, we were told we wouldn't have any. So, I mean, we didn't plan it out like that way. It just kind of happened that way. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. God bless you.
So, I mean, my oldest son, we're starting to have some conversations, but he's not quite there yet. Right. I think maybe in a year or two, he may be. But my oldest daughter, we're a lot alike. We're very, you know, the way we think about things. But when we have a lot of conflicts, it's when we don't think the same way, because we do think a lot alike so much. Yep. And so it's been hard trying to keep that door of communication open. I'm like, if you just talk to me, you know, we can work through this, but you have to talk to me. Don't just stomp up the stairs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's hard, man. It's because if you know what she's thinking, right? Because that's you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And how hard it's so hard for me. It's like, I have one of my sons are like that, stubborn, doesn't want to hear it. Right. And, I have to work on I guess the biggest thing I've learned is to work on myself to make a change to adapt to my kids. Because they're still trying to find themselves. Yeah. Am I successful? Oh God, no, I'm trying every day, man. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh yeah, I got to figure it out, man. Oh God. Once you think that, dude, bam, something's gonna hit you because you don't, right?
Yeah.
My daughter. So I got a girl, 3 boys, and the girl. Okay. So my girl was easy. She was she does a homebody. She likes to study, all the things, man. You can give her a little look like, yo, hey, what's going on? It's like, oh, sorry, and like, right.
Yeah.
But then here comes the boys, you know, and it's just downhill ever since. You know? And then you saw the princess here, and she was, man, and she's got God's little gift to us, because we got a huge age gap, I mean, we got 14 years, man. But I love it, man. To your point, we didn't plan it. I'm a firm believer God plans it for you. God only gives you what you can handle. Mm-hmm. I remember my wife called me up 7 years ago. I was at work. I started a new job, and I was like 2 months. It was a Christmas party, right? She texted me. I'm like, I'm at a meeting. I'll call you in a little bit, right? Just rolling it off, right? Yeah. And then she called me, oh God, I think something's wrong now, right? I think something's wrong with your kid. She calls me, and she's like, yo, we're pregnant. I'm like, congratulations, man. It's awesome. She's like, no, I'm 39. I said, babe. Like, yeah, I talk her down. And it's like, and we're big in the face. Like, God would not have blessed us with her unless he wanted it, right? And I tell you what, man, that has been true since the day she was born. She's such a breath of fresh air. It's like, so for me, I got those 3 boys. You know how it is, man. I mean, we're just pounding. Now here comes this little girl. I mean, sweet as can be, right? And I remember, like, you know how to get the little hair on my wife with the little piggies, she's like an alien, and it's just like she melts, and then like, oh, you're gonna be wrapped around for him? Like, no, I'm not. Oh, I am, whatever you want. So it's great. I mean, and you're blessed to have that mix too, man. And it's great, as your kids get older, you're going to see it, and you're going to see little differences, man. You're in for a great ride. You're a great ride, man.
Yeah. It's fun. I enjoy as they get older. I mean, they're fun when they're little too, but I enjoy the conversations more now. I enjoy that we can do more together.
Yes.
I enjoy, I know you were big into, sports, athletic stuff too.
Yep.
I enjoy that side of it because, I can still remember the first time, you can actually feel the ball in your glove when it actually hits it real hard, you can actually feel it the first time. I mean, it's just fun. And I enjoy those little things that, as they get older and older, it's exciting. I think moms tend to they love when they're little. I think dads tend to be a little more, as they get older, they can do more fun stuff with you and, experience life with you a little more. And it's just, and I think that's how God's meant it to be too. It's just, he's designed us different. Kids need their mom a whole lot more when they're younger, just for, natural things.
Yep.
And as you get older, they seem to need their dad in other ways more as well. Not that they don't need their mom anymore, but there's things that dad can push them towards that, they fall down when they're riding their bike. Mom and dad usually respond differently. And it's often the dad who can say, no, you need to get back up and get on that bike again and get moving again.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? Not that no mom will. I think they will, but it's going to look a lot different. You know what I mean? And they need both. Kids need both. But I think I talk about that a lot. It's a huge cultural issue right now. The lack of fathers in the home, the lack of father presence in the home, the lack of really the family structure is just kind of gone away in many ways. And so we're talking about the cultural issue of lack of fathers. So what are some things that you're trying to instill in your 14, 15-year-olds? Like, what are you trying to teach them about manhood, being a man, that sort of thing, like right now?
That's a great question, man. I know I keep saying faith-based, but and you're a faith-based guy too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's already written for us, right, in the Bible, right? I'm trying to take things we learned in the Bible or in church. I can't sit here and spit out all these verses, but Jesus was a great role model, and why I try to put that in there is because I gotta have faith, gotta believe somebody higher than you, right? I don't care who you are, whatever religion you are. I'm really pushing on respect, loyalty, discipline, strength. Have you ever seen that Dr. Jordan Peterson? Yeah. I like his one clip about beasts. He's like, you got to be a beast, but you got to know how to control it. Right. I'm thinking about it. Right. I'm like, what? You're right. And if you talk to men that are, I'm sure you can feel, say, if I go up to a man, I can tell if they're a man or not man. I can tell like if they're weak. I can tell if they're, and I can tell you how their kids are going to be. You get that vibe, right? And if I meet their kid, my big things, I got to get a firm handshake. Something simple, right? Hold the door, right? Say your please and thank yous. All these folks now are like, you don't need to do that and this and that. I'm like, well, that's your opinion, but I want to raise my boys to do that. But the respect piece is what I've really been pushing on. And that's a big, under a big umbrella, right?
Sure.
I started at home. Like, you got to respect your mom and dad, right? The way you talk to us is the way you're going to talk to your teachers, your coaches, other kids' parents, right? And don't be rude, right? Don't cut people off. Like, I'm trying to teach them how to speak, slow down your speech. If you can speak, educate as an educated speaker, you got a leg up, right? I mean, we're way far from that, right? We're working on this stuff, and you got to respect yourself, right? I mean, if you don't brush your teeth or you don't put deodorant on, these boys go through this stage where they don't want to do anything, right?
Yeah.
And with that, you respect yourself, and I'm a big proponent of respecting women. You know, I treat my wife like the woman. She's the queen. You know, she whatever she wants. You know, that's her, man. She's my queen. She's my world. She's with our faith, and I want my boys and my girls to see that, right? Because the other piece, the role reversal, right? Then people say, well, what about your daughters? Well, great question. I want my daughters to see how a real man is supposed to act, because I don't want them, I mean, a hopeful, right? Don't want them attracted to a bum, right? Or just because of a certain way a guy looks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I want them to see the person, like, because I want my daughters to be able to be independent and don't need a man, right?
Sure.
But you know, we're Christians. You know, you want that family, right? We need each other, right? So, for example, as my, you know, say for Valentine's Day, I'll give my wife roses. I give my daughters roses. I want them to feel that, right? I get them something special for, you know, Mother's Day, stuff like that. I want them to feel special, right? Their birthdays, I give them stuff. I do things a little differently for them than I do for my boys. You know, I'm not gonna candy coat stuff for my boys. My wife, sometimes, you know, I am harder on them. You know, and people, you know, my wife sometimes, or my mother, God bless my mother, you're so hard on your boys. I said, look, do you know how you and the old man were on me growing up, right?
No, they forget.
Right? I said, yeah, your grandma now, but hey, but simple things like address me, like don't be talking to the wall, talk to me, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll give you one other quick example. My 15-year-old, he was talking to this girl. So this whole girlfriend thing's coming up now, right?
Yep.
So they're talking, whatever, you know, no big deal. We're not boyfriend, girlfriend. She invited him to her house because this was in the spring. Her brother graduates, like graduation party, right? I said, sure, man, you can go there. He's like, well, can I go there for 5 hours? I go, 5 hours? I said, no, you're not going there for 5 hours. I said, you can go there, but I said, I'm taking you. I'm going in the home. I'm gonna introduce myself. I want to meet their parents, right? You're my son, right? And then we're in the car there. He's like, you're not coming in, are you? I said, listen, man, I already told you I'm coming in. And I said, this is how you need to act. Go up to him, shake the dad's hand, introduce yourself. Shake the mom's hand, introduce yourself. Mind your P's and Q's. You know, I'm pretty straightforward. I don't get embarrassed. I can, you know, I'll just come talk to you, right?
Yeah.
They get a little shy. My wife, they're a little bit shy. I'm like, you just got to get out there, man. And then, right. So then I went in there, then talking to the dad, real cool guy. And you could tell they appreciated that I came in and introduced my boy, right? Because he's representing our family, right? Yeah. And if the roles reversed, I expect the same. You know, you come in my home, you bring your kid here, let's introduce, you know, and then you say, hey man, can I get you something to eat? And my son look at me, I know I'm good, you know. That's some good food too, man.
Sure, I'll stay for 5 hours.
Right? So then he got over the hump, right? He didn't want me to embarrass him. I said, I'm not gonna embarrass you, you know, but I want to know who's here. There's a bunch of riffraff and you're not staying. I had no problem. If I don't think you should be there, we're gonna go. You know. Yeah. You know, my wife, they get embarrassed or whatever. God bless her, but I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think you have to. My boys need to see me do that. Yeah. So right. So then they understand the situation, right? Yeah. That's part about being a man. I keep telling them, hey, you're gonna get problems, and then you're gonna have to make tough decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Think it through. Another big piece we're hitting on is accountability, you know, for their actions. Like, you made this decision. You're going to be accountable for what happened. So, I mean, just basics, like I said, man, respect, faith, loyalty, discipline, accountability. It's hard, man. It's so hard. And I try to, and then when like I said, you know, with sports and faith, I keep telling them, like, hey, it's not about getting like baseball. We love baseball. Getting to the big show, right? It's the journey. Any sport you do or any music or art, you gotta be disciplined, right? I said, all these people you see on TV, they put the work in, man. I don't know if I've been watching Kobe Bryant stuff, and he was just a grinder. I didn't know that. Yeah. I did not, you know, and I just can't believe that the work he put in. And so
Yeah.
I'll send them a little thing from what Kobe did, you know. Okay, Dad. I'm like, well, look, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, the best, they were like that. Like you read these things about Jordan, first at practice, last to leave.
Yep.
I mean, it didn't matter what time practice was. He was the first there, last to leave. Larry Bird was the same way. I mean, you just hear these stories about these guys, they put in the work.
Yep.
I mean, to be better. And and you said something there, the discipline that was necessary. And I think that may be because it's viewed as a bad word in our culture.
Right.
The discipline to, see something through, or to keep doing something, even if you don't want to, or even if you don't like it, to just still do it, or to take responsibility like you were talking about there. I think those are huge, especially for boys and girls, but especially for boys, to start to learn those truths right now, because it will only, intensify in their future. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. They don't get it right now, but I for example, they joined a new travel club, right? This coach was going crazy, yelling and stuff, right? But I'm not saying I'm crazy, but I'm gonna make you to yourself. I'm gonna hold you accountable. If we're learning how to hit a curveball, until you hit it, we're gonna be sitting right here, man. Right?
Yeah.
Ground balls. I'm gonna hit it hard. There was a game last year. One of my boys had a bad game, and I'm like, well, what are you gonna do about it, man? Can we hit some balls? We were at that field, wasn't our field. Him and I hitting balls, and I asked the grounds, hey, man, give me another 10 minutes, And he approached me, but he wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. You know what I mean?
No.
But
No.
it's you gotta be disciplined, man. And you're right though. Society looks at it as bad. It's not a bad word.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, look at anybody that's successful is disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're exactly right. There's a story about a golfer. I don't know how much you know about golfers, but Tom Watson, he would, he wasn't very good at, hitting with a sand wedge out of the sand for a long time. And so he would basically stand there and practice until he hit at least 3 in the hole out of the sand. And so he would just stand there for hours if he had to, just hitting and hitting and hitting. And I mean, it's just the discipline that's necessary. Baseball, you said something there. I run our town. We're a pretty small rural town where we're at, but in Illinois, but I run our little rec, little league deal. Right. And so, and it's grown these last few years, which has been really good. I mean, we need it and I enjoy it, but the parents, it has gotten horrible. I mean, and I'm the type that I'll just call the game, especially if I'm umpiring. I'll just say, hey, you tell them to stop or you guys forfeit. And I have no issue doing that personally. And especially since I run the league, but you kind of can do that sort of thing.
Call you, right?
Yeah. And it helps that, yeah. I mean, I know most of the parents, so, on our side, I can usually just have a one-on-one with them if they start getting too out of control.
Yeah.
And it's usually boys more than girls, I've noticed. The boys' games more than like softball games for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just that extra competitive drive there, even though a lot of times it seems like the softball girls, it's often more fun to watch, I think, because you see a lot more teamwork a lot of time, at least in my experience.
Yep. Oh, you're right.
I've seen that. And they seem to encourage each other a little bit better in my experience. Whereas the boys, they can, like, I will never understand a 5th grader. He strikes out, he goes in the dugout and starts crying. I will never understand it. I wasn't that way, so I don't understand that sort of thing, but it has just gotten crazy. I don't know. Do you see it? I mean, how do your boys respond to it? How do they deal with it?
Yeah, I've coached a long time, and like the Little League brand,
Yeah.
I remember I kept getting called from the president. If I was in the league, I was coaching, you would probably have been calling me, And all I literally was doing, man, was following the rules. For example, you could only score 5 runs in a match, right, for an inning.
Yeah.
And I made sure we got our 5 runs. I mean, so I taught them like how to steal, right? Because following the rules, man. And then to be aggressive, right? Let's stretch that single to a double. Well, the other coach and stuff didn't like that. And then the other parents didn't like it. So I got a lot of phone calls on a Saturday evening, Coach Dave. Press, what's up? I said, tell me what I did wrong. You know what I mean? So, and then there's my wife. So she cringes like, oh God, But what I would do at the beginning of the year when I coached, I would tell my parents, I give them a little speech like, hey, leave Johnny here. If he's hurt, I'll get you out there, but I'll get him off the field. If he's crying, I'll let him get done, and then he needs to suck it up. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm also not going to tolerate the parents coming on the field, coming on the bench, trying to control a game, being rude with you too, man. I've asked my parents, you need to go sit in your car, man. You're not going to deal with it, right? That's that weakness stuff. I think when little Johnny's weak and this, I like the whole participation trophy. That crap drives me nuts.
You're not alone. You're
right?
not alone.
What is that, man? I remember as a kid that somebody won the league, man, and I saw that trophy. And I kid you
got
not,
a huge trophy. I mean, that's what you're playing for.
Exactly. I was like, you know what, man? Forget this. I'm gonna bust my home because I want that trophy next year. Yeah. Right? Not now, So, but once you get a little more competitive, like in the travel world, stuff like that, it's more cutthroat, which I like. Yeah. I mean, not cutthroat. It's cutthroat, man.
Yeah, it is pretty intense.
Yeah. But I think what I noticed now that my boys get a little bit older and a little more competitive, the parents understand it because they're paying money, right? Yeah. And the coach, I expect something from that coach. Like if I'm paying this money, I want next level, right? So it is a little different once they get below. You'll notice the difference. Yeah. But I found that, to your point, when all my kids were younger and dealing with the parents, I just tell them straight up, and I got a lot of crap for it, but I still do it. Yeah. But I kept telling my kids, like, look, this is not appropriate. I'd always think, all right, my kid's looking at me, and what do I want them? I'm not going to fly off the handle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm not going to have a conflict, but let's have a discussion, and politely, you need to leave. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, I try to role model what I want them to see. And then over time, they've had some coaches that I didn't really care for. So now I'm on the flip side of it, coaching them up mentally before practice. I'm going to quit that. And you're not quitting. You're not quitting. Yeah. I don't care what you say. You're staying. You're not a quitter. I don't care how many games we lose. I don't care how bad you do. What can we learn from that? I try to push that. What can we learn to our next team that we go to, or our next coach that we want to make sure we have that. I've been trying to flip it like that. Just on my, it's hard though, man. It's hard. Because as a parent, it sounds like you're a competitor too, man. Oh, it's like, you want the best and you want to win, but I want them to learn. Yeah.
I am super competitive, and I've, really, brought it down a lot just because it can lead to conflicts. It can lead to, you just flying off the handle, losing your temper, whatever. And it is harder now with my daughter, she's a little older, fast pitch, all that kind of stuff. So I when she's pitching, I struggle more than she does. Because I know what she's capable of. I know we had a tournament game, and this umpire, there was nothing consistent where she was calling it, and I could see it on her face. Like, I knew my daughter is getting ticked, and I could tell because same pitch twice in a row, and one's a ball, one's a strike, and I'm standing right behind the umpire, so I can see it because I was starting to get frustrated, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just we have to ride with it right now.
Yep.
You know, there's nothing we can do. Go out there and just hit it over the fence. I was like, that's what you can do. Just keep, you know. But I mean, I'm coaching that, but then I'm coaching like my 5-year-old's T-ball, and my son, he's a little older, you know. I think like coach pitch sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that one got intense too. We were in the championship this year, and I had this fan. We got down like 9-0.
Okay.
And then we hit it one inning where, I mean, we were just rocking the ball. I don't know. I thought we were just going to get stomped because the kids were tired. They'd been at the pool all day.
Right.
I knew it was going to be rough, but then something clicked, and my worst hitter hadn't hit a ball all year, hit the ball. She hits the ball like barely like 2 feet in front of her, and she makes it to first, and that sparked the whole thing. It like, you know, we come back, we take the lead like 11-9, and this guy on the sideline for the other team's going crazy, like yelling. Oh, it's I stopped the game. I'm like, I went to the other coach, and we knew each other. I mean,
Sure.
we know each other pretty well, and I'm like, dude, if this guy doesn't stop, I'm forfeiting now. It's not worth it. These kids, they're 3rd and 2nd graders. It's not worth it. It ended up being that guy's father-in-law. So he went over and had a chat.
Yeah, I got to finish the game.
Yeah.
Good. I'm embarrassed, man. That poor guy.
Oh yeah, he was. He's just like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. But hey, good for you though, man. You know, people won't do that anymore.
No, it's just we got to set the standard. I'm like,
yes,
you pitch a fit, you're sitting the rest of the game. I mean, there are consequences for your actions, and if others aren't going to teach it, I think we're in unique roles where we can start saying, you know what, if you do this, this is going to be the outcome.
Right?
Because somebody's going to have to, or else when that eventually happens, it's going to be a lot harder for them, especially as they get older. So if we can start instilling those things, you're hitting it, man. You're hitting everything I preach and say.
But and I appreciate it. Just to your point where you just said the future, you know, people don't understand. I want them to face it now as much as we can, so we can learn together. So later on, when they become an adult, like, how many adults do you know now that can't handle stuff?
Yeah.
Right. That's like you're an adult, you know.
Yeah.
You're raising a child, but you can't even have a conversation, or you act this way or that way. It's like, whoa, man. And you can see the kids, right?
Yeah.
That's why I said I think we talked earlier about it's so hard to be a man now in society because they don't want us to be it. And that's the other problem, right? Yeah. They want the whole demasculization movement, all that other jazz. It's like you can't. I don't know. I just have a firm belief. I'm not built that way.
No.
And I don't want any of my children that way, boy or girl. You know. Yeah.
Well, I don't think men in general are built that way, but they have been so ingrained, and so that devaluation of manhood in our society has caused, I think, the many issues, because we're a threat. We're a threat to the established rule, what they want to accomplish, and the upside down of the whole family unit. I mean, the way that things are run. And really, if we trace it back to the scriptures, they have a real problem with how the scriptures lay out the family structure. And they have been the world's powers. I truly believe we fight physical warfares, but we also fight spiritual warfares. And I do think this is part of the spiritual warfare, is to undermine the role that men should have in our society. And I mean, you think about it. What great thing in history has ever happened that didn't require a strong man? I mean, you can't think of any, right? I mean, in our own country, everything told George Washington not to cross that Delaware, but he did, because he knew it was the only shot he had.
That's
and
it.
He did it.
Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, we're here. We benefit because of it, because of one man took that hard stance and said, yeah, we're going to do it. Whether we die or not, we're going to do it. And I mean, all throughout history, that's been the case.
Yep.
And we need more of that. And I think what you're saying and what you're promoting with your content and different things is exactly what people need to see and what people need to live out, that whole motivate, inspiring other men. But go into what your Instagram, what you're trying to do with all that.
Sure. So my big thing we could talk about a little bit was like the whole media and society, right? I'm sitting here and all I see is negativity, evil, devil stuff. I mean, my kids will show me stuff about like these shoes and all these devil stuff, and you can see that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And all these rappers, I'm like, what? And I mean, what happened to Run DMC and Beastie Boys or whatever? And then I also see the whole once you depend on government. I think they've been trying to push that a long time, and they're trying to, hey, I'll give you money. Then that whole COVID thing where they're giving money, people are just soaking it up, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought to myself, I had to take a stand and start my own family, right? And then I was like, I need to do a better job. And I think we talked before about leaving your kids something. I just don't want to leave my kids that I worked every day. Okay, they got clothes on their back, food in their belly, but what else can you do, right? So I wanted to promote something of positivity, God, faith, and strong men, right? I really got attracted to guys like you, what you're saying, and so then that kind of spurred. I was also looking for. Do you mind if I go into the whole DLB Apparel thing?
Oh yeah, go for it, man.
So it's kind of all
talk it up. Talk it up.
So I like t-shirts or short sleeve shirt, right? I always look for something cool that I want, but I don't want just something everybody's wearing, right? So the whole piece I was talking about the negativity, I said, you know what? I need to do something where it promotes positivity. Like, what does that mean? So I tried all different versions and different things of what to do and these different outlets. And first off, I was like, I need somebody what can my company be? Well, DLB is my father's initials. So he was a skilled, he's still alive. I'm sorry. He's a skilled, 37 plus years in the auto industry, skilled trades guy, grinding it out, man. Right. Watching him go to work every day, coming home every day, that motivated me, right? Mm-hmm. That he inspired me to be a good father because he had his laurels, like, he was built a certain way, right? So that's where the whole DLB came from. I thought, what not better to name it after my old man, and then and he loves it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Because my kids love their papa, their grandfather, right? So it kind of jives. And then the whole what can I say? Everybody's like, be positive. I said, I want that too. But I'm thinking I wanted something that if I looked at myself and I had a shirt on, it would inspire me or motivate me. I'm like, well, there you go, Dave. Motivate, inspire. I was like, there you go, man. That's my brain, right? And then I'm just hearing this message from God, right? I love prayer, and it's like it won't get out of my head, right? So I'm like, that means something, man. Like I have no idea how to do t-shirts or apparel or Instagram, I'm like way out of my comfort zone, right? But I'm learning as I go, right? Doing different things, seeing other guys, talking to gentlemen like you. And so I figured I had to get something, right? So I really want to motivate, like, hey, you need to be motivated as a person, right? And if you're motivated, hopefully you can help somebody else get motivated or try to motivate somebody, right?
Yeah.
The flip side, inspire. You're inspired by somebody, right? You can be inspired by God, you can be inspired by your friend, a coworker, whatever, to get you going, right? But on the flip side, my challenge to people is, have you inspired anybody today? Who did you inspire, to do the right thing, right? Say me, did I inspire any man today to be a better man? That's what I'm trying to do. And then I said, like, we're all sports, right? So it's like, I love sports, so I figured I just put the whole sports thing in. With Faith at the Crosses, a good buddy of mine did graphic design, and he hooked me up my whole little thing with the bat. I could do any sport. We do any sport. If you go in the whole DLB Apparel shop, So
Sure.
it's right, and learning how to make my own shirts, man. It wasn't my hobby before, but it's my hobby now.
Yeah.
It's just kind of grown, and by doing that or being involved with it my own self, it keeps me trying to be positive, right? It keeps me, hey, Dave, motivate. Did you motivate anybody today, man? Or are you barking at everybody today or complaining, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's spun into the whole, law of attraction, the universal law, right? I'm big on that, where if you send out negativity, it's all you get is negativity. I try on a daily basis to send out positivity, send out strength, send out confidence. I want it back. Just the fact that you and I are talking today was because of my sending it out, right? That It came back to me, right? Law of attraction got us together on the phone. It wouldn't, nothing else could explain this. People look at me like, what are you talking about, man?
That's okay.
And that's okay, right? And I think the whole law of attraction is bringing people like-minded, but I don't want to be just like-minded, but a cause, something good, right? We can both like the Boston Celtics. We can both like Notre Dame, although I'm a Michigan guy, but it's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
You have a better record this year.
But even we can have a conversation, Michigan, Notre Dame, right? But we can still, we can have a conversation, right? And then we'll get into stuff that we talked about, right? That's the camaraderie. And I think men have a unique way of doing that, to where having that, we can motivate and inspire each other. But I don't just want men. I want like my kids, and I made them their little t-shirts, and they're with their friends. And, I want them to, hey man, be a good teammate, right? Be a good friend at school, right? They come home, this guy was doing that. I said, well, what did you do? Did you stand by, or did you help him out? So that's kind of how
good
it all went. It all kind of merged together, and it felt good. I'm new to the game, and I'm learning. It's like, oh man, it's integration.
It's awesome. I think it's just a way to kind of just keep, what you're saying, that motivation, that inspiration, trying to push people to be better. And I think we need more of that. It's easy to get, I'm naturally a guy like half glass, half empty type person. However, honestly, I'm just like, it's a glass of water. Personally, I'm more of a, literal, type mindset, but I can be pessimistic at times. So I need those things that will push me beyond, to not get stuck in that rut, but to think about, no, there's something better there. There's possibility there. I just have to look for it. And I think what you're doing is pushing people that way. And I think especially guys, I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is that we need a challenge. We need to be challenged by something continuing. Maybe it's on the baseball field, maybe in life, it's something in work, maybe, it's taking on like a hobby like this that you've kind of just embraced and ran with. And, for me, it's, this whole podcast, Instagram, whatever, social media stuff that, it's just cool. I mean, I've been starting to write for a sporting thing recently, and that's just been kind of a new challenge. That's just really fun and exciting, and just kind of, we need that in our lives to just kind of push us a little further along than where we are right now. And something that I think our kids will also see is that dad's not just going through the motions. He's, what he's telling me to do, he's actually doing. And I think that will speak a lot more than us just saying. I really think our words are important, but when our actions back those words up, I mean, they won't miss it. And I'm shocked by when they just say something randomly where they've noticed something like that in my life, where I'm like, oh, you do see it.
I've only said it 1,000 times, but at least I only need that one, man.
Yeah. Like my oldest son, he can be, you know, looking at this, looking over here, over there, and he will know every single word I say. And it drives me absolutely crazy because I'm a, you know, look in the eyes type, focus, that sort of thing. And I probably said that to him since he was born, because he's just, you know, he's just, and he can quote back to me almost everything I say, but I would have had no idea that he was listening at all. And those kids drive me crazy. But
right.
I mean, but he's picking up on it. He's starting to see, and, you know, say this summer's been a huge one. We started to let him, you know, go out and hang out. 9 years old. He's got this, we're in a small town. So, you know, they go out on their bikes and all that sort of thing. And it's been a lot of opportunities for him to kind of just step up. You know, I've tried to tell him, you know, don't just be the follower, be the leader. People like a leader. People will follow a leader, be the leader. And I've started to, and he's not naturally like that because his sister, you know, she's older. He tends to just follow whatever she wants to do. And it's been fun to see him start taking that step.
That's awesome.
And start, you know, trying to inspire others like you're talking about right here. And I think what you're trying to accomplish is just huge. I think it's great. And I hope people catch on to it. And I'm going to put all the info and all that stuff in the description of this. And, you know, hopefully people, you know, they need something for Christmas or whatever, go check you out, you know, go pick up a shirt. Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. You know, before I was thinking about, I really appreciate that. That's what I'm trying to get, you know, the shirt is just an outlet that I want people to start trying to do. Right.
Yeah.
And then maybe give me a platform, which I'm blessed to have with you. It's just like, I'm just a regular guy, man. And I'm a family man and faith. And now today people look at us like there's something wrong with that. I don't think there is. I think there's something wrong with society on the outside. Right.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that, the collaboration and talk to people, and you're going through the same struggles, man.
Yeah.
Here in Michigan, same issues, man, you know, and the kids, some of the things you're going through, some of my kids are a little bit older. So I remember those days, you know, and you miss some of those days, but I think the other part was, man, I think I like the older kids. It gets to that point, right? It's like, all right, man, we can sit down and, you know, I don't want
talk
you to
it out.
talk about it. Like, what's going on? You know? So definitely appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know, I really appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take you up all night. You know, you got a family to go be with, and you know, I can hear a screamer up above my head. So who knows what's going on there. He, you know, our oldest and our youngest, they're the two most stubborn, and the two in between are kind of the, you know, easygoing more, and which they have their own challenges with that. But, you know, that oldest and that youngest, they are so much alike, and it's going to be some work.
Oh,
that youngest boy.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, just hold on. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Anytime, man. You never waste my time. I love to collaborate, you know. And I want to learn from you too, if you don't mind. I like to do these too. I don't know how to, you know, I'm trying to learn from everybody, you know.
Sure.
But I'm here to, I want to get everybody's message out. I mean, we speak the same truth, right? And what I really attracted to you guys was the whole faith piece, man. And then the being a man. It's, God, if people actually, you know, if you're a man or a woman, if you actually took a second and watched, right, the media was coming out there, and looked at how they're trying to do things to men, there's no argument there. It's there, and it's I don't want that for my kids or your kids, right? So I appreciate your fight, man. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it just, you know, it hits me a lot, and I see, and I really try to avoid the news as much as possible. I've been tuning in more recently because of the elections and all that, so I can get up to date. But I mean, you just see these people up there, and You're like, I don't want my kid to be anything like that. Most of the politicians, I don't want my kid to be anything like that. I mean, just on so many levels. And,
Right.
you know, guys like us, one of the encouraging parts about doing this is that there's a lot of people going through the same things who are trying to fight the battle, who want their kids to do better and be better. And you're one of those guys. And it's encouraging to me to know that I'm not the only one, that
Yep.
there's other guys in the battle with us.
Yep. I'm here,
And,
bro.
yeah.
I'm here.
It's,
I'm not going anywhere.
Same here. Let's keep
Yeah.
pushing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, if I'm getting deeper, man, this is how we were built. The country was built like this.
Yeah.
We didn't want the Queen in England. We don't want him in here, right?
Yeah.
That was the point. We want to be independent, freedom of religion, right? Free speech, all that good stuff, man. And kind of tear it down. And as long as I'm alive and there's something I can do, I'm going to try to do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's good. Yeah. Same here. But hey, I don't want to take up all your night, like I said. So, what's I'll give you, what's your final word to men out there? What do you want to leave with them tonight?
Man. Oh, good, baby. Sorry. Show me a picture. Sorry.
You're good.
What do I want to leave with men? That's a great question, man. Men in general, get faith, stay the course. Don't waver, and know you got another man and you got support out there. We're here. And I can't forget, build your family. That's we were built on that, and we have to keep going.
That's awesome. That's a good word. That's a good way to finish. I like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks, man. That was a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Get your passion going, you know?
Oh yeah, I know. And you know, it's just, we're passionate about it. And I think what you're doing, and I think a lot of other guys are doing, is just trying to spread that word.
Yep.
And try to build that passion. Like, it's just too many guys coasting, just too many.
Way too many.
Just wasting their time, and they need to step up.
Yeah.
And I hope that's one of the things I hope from these podcast episodes and all these things, is videos, is that people will see that and be, you know, motivated to say, maybe I can do a little bit more. And if that's what happens, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just a little bit, man. You don't have to save the whole world.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, man.
One step at a time.
One kid at a time, right?
That's right. That's good. I like that. Hey, Dave, I appreciate it, man.